Um, this is not necessarily a biblical question, but is there any biblical answer to the question, why is there so many Christians dying of cancer in this dispensation?
All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. All right, it'll take a little longer than 6 seconds, this one. Now I'll go play a bear. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. Under the first place, there's purposeful cancer, and purposeful cancer is doing something that you know is harmful to you, that'll defile the temple, that'll cause the cancer. Among them, notably, of course, is smoking, the lung cancer. And then probably, according to most dietitians and most neuropaths, soft drinks, Coca-Colas, containing coal tar. And then thirdly, probably, I've got that isn't lung cancer, that piece of almond caught in the windpipe. The next thing will be, which Roloff says, insists, have something to do with pork. So if a person, if those things are responsible for cancer, then if a person eats pork, then he's asking for cancer. Or if he smokes, he's asking for cancer. Or if he drinks soft drinks, he's asking for cancer. If those things have anything to do with it. Now, you can't lay down a hard, fast rule. Alex Dunlap died of cancer of the lung, and the doctor looked at him and said, you look like you've been smoking 2 packets of cigarettes a day for 20 years. But Dunlap hadn't smoked for 50 years. So he got his lung cancer someplace else. Can't go by an infallible rule on it. They say, well, it's the pork. Well, I guess the highest pork eaters in the world, undoubtedly the Germans. I mean, sausage is the staff of life, man. If I had to quit sausage, I don't know what I'd do, man. Get rid of knockwurst, and bratwurst, and vice versa. I don't know how you live without that. They want pablum or something. But if that's what it is, that's peculiar. The German people have never been high on cancer and aren't as high on cancer now per capita as Americans are. A German told me one time, he's SS man, came over here to the States, and I only found out he was SS because he accidentally showed me some pictures he shouldn't have showed me. He professed to be a postal clerk, but he wasn't. And I didn't turn him in. I figured he'd do a good job. Let him go. Anyway, that fellow there, he said this. He said, you Americans, the reason why you have so much stomach cancer is you drink ice water. Which seemed to be rather peculiar, and I talked to him about it, and he said, no German drinks ice water. And I thought about it, and I got over there, you couldn't get any ice. You go to a German, you can't get ice anywhere. When a German says ice, he means ice cream. Oh, E-I-S, ice, he means ice cream. He doesn't mean cubed ice. You can't get cubed ice in any German restaurant over there unless you ask for it specifically, and then they'll look at you like they thought you were crazy. As a matter of fact, hard enough to even get water over there. And he says this, he says that ice, he said, freezes the stuff in the digestive juices in the stomach, or the gastric juices down there, so they don't operate right. And they don't operate in the food, and then when the food is gone, they operate in the stomach line, and he says that produces ulcers and cancer. That's what he says. Now, I'm not sure about all that. You see, you're talking about stuff here is you can't hang your hat on the thing. Because if those things cause cancer in Christians, many Christians have cancer, didn't used to have cancer, it could be certainly because of soft drinks, because that soft drink stuff, I know when that stuff starts. That stuff starts about 1933, along about in there. And the first soft drinks were nothing but soda pop. It was soda pop, is all you drink. And they didn't have the stuff in these things have got. What you call now Big Red, that strawberry drink, is cream of soda, is what that thing is. The 10-cent knee-high is the one that bottled that stuff back in the 20s and 30s. And you come along to that Coca-Cola thing, that's an industry. That's a worldwide industry that's come up since 1933. And if you went to the North Pole, you'd find a sign saying, drink Coca-Cola. What they keep doing is saying, the pause that refreshes, I'll have a Coke, I'll have a Coke. Give me a Coke, give me a Coke, I'll have a Coke, give me a Coke, I'll have a Coke. Where they put that thing out is, all up and down these streets, if you travel up and down America like some of us do all year round, you see green and white sign by a red and white sign. The white sign with the green on it is the name of the grocery store, the drugstore, or the vegetable market, or whatever it is. And the Coca-Cola sign, the red and white, is put up there. And the Coca-Cola company makes an agreement with the people. If you let us put up our sign, we'll paint you a sign. So they paint the outfit a green and white sign, which is not as visible as red and white. Highest visibility is red and white. Next visibility is black and yellow. Red and white's the blood, black and yellow's the cat. You get that, don't you? I mean, the cat. You know, Revelation 13, you have to keep up with it, you know. So they make this green and white thing, and they put this red and white sign out here. So every cotton-picking vegetable place, market, grocery, drugstore, gas station has a Coca-Cola sign by it. And the consequence, you've raised now 2 generations of people, and they think of a soft drink, they think of Coke. God, what do you have? I'll have a Coke. They brainwash you with it. They just drove it in your head. Now you stop, think about it. I believe they tried to change the thing to cherry since Pepsi Cola and Sprite, some of the rest of them gave us a hard time. And to pour the stuff out the sink, nobody buy the cherry. I think they're back to the old one now, or some crazy messed up thing. Now tell me something, what does Coke come from? As a word. What's cocaine? Cocaine, the dope. And the idea is you keep drinking it, you get adjusted to it, and then you have to take it, and you take it like you do dope. And you start thinking about those things, and you know there's something peculiar, because it never quenches your thirst. The pause that refreshes. There's nothing in the world about a soft drink that could satiate your thirst. Because the first place it's sugar, and that makes you thirsty. And the second place it's soda, and that's bubbly, and that doesn't quench your thirst. Now, just to show you what I mean, Ted, you do go without drinking one day. Don't drink nothing from 6 in the morning to 6 at night. And then put a Coca-Cola over here and a glass of ice water over here. And see which one will do the job. The water will do the job and the Coke won't. Thin tea will do the job. That's the real thin. Apple juice will do the job if it's cut in half. Or cherry juice if cut in half. But grape juice, apple juice, and cherry juice full strength, they just gum your mouth up too. They're too sweet. But where you got the idea that Coke satisfied a thirst was nothing. The thing is, when you were 10 or 11 or 12 years old, what do you have? I'll have a hamburger and a Coke. I'll have a hamburger and a Coke. I'll have a Coke. Give me a Coke. So if, and I don't know for sure, but if Coca-Cola is a source of cancer, that could sure explain it in about half the Christians, because certainly half the Christians drink Coke regular and soft drinks regular. Some of them 2 and 3 a day. Some of them 5 a day. So, but that's an if, you see. I don't know about that for sure. All right, the next thing is, if coal tar and that kind of stuff is the cause of cancer, the reason why many Christians have cancer and everybody else has cancer is because when you step out that door, you're breathing carbon monoxide from morning to night. Now, you put the carbon monoxide in there and the coal tar in there, and then mix that a generous helping of caffeine, and then just to make sure, put a little nicotine on top of it, and my God, man, if you don't die of cancer before you're 20, it's a miracle. Like I get in the morning and taking a depression pill, and taking an appetite depressant pill, and taking a vitamin pill, and taking a nerve calming pill, and then some other pill, and lighting a cigarette, if one doesn't explode with the gas in it. If you were to ask me why I think more Christians have cancer any other time, I wouldn't make it just Christian. I would say it applied to anybody in America. And the Christians, there just happen to be a lot of Christians in America, so they get it too. If I'm going to answer that question, I would say it comes from defiling the temple, and then I'd put it in with one more thing. Come back to Genesis. I'd put it in with this. Genesis 3. Genesis 3. Genesis 3, verse 17. I'm going back to Genesis because all the covenants in the Bible to Genesis 12 apply to anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. Anything up to Genesis 12 will apply to anybody. That's why they like to get rid of Genesis. Whether you're under law, under grace, Jew or Gentile, saved or lost, Everything in Genesis 1 to 12 will take hold of you. Or Genesis 3:17. Thou shalt eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns and thistles shall bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return to the ground, to death. Now that thing there says sweat. I don't know what causes cancer. I got no idea what causes cancer. But then again, I'm not behind anybody else. Nobody else does either. And these doctors, I don't care how smart they profess to be, they don't know what they're doing 3/4 of the time. There are two people I don't trust, doctors and lawyers. And you have to go to both of them sooner or later. I think the thing to do is get rid of all your money before you get to them, so when you get to them, they don't get a dime. Go broke before you get to them, that way they can't clean you out. But you think, I don't trust them, they don't know what they're doing. Let me show what I mean. You get a back injury. Now I've got about 4 people in my church have this back injury. And 2 of them in braces. You go to the doctor. It's out of line. You go to the chiropractor. You put it back in line. It was out of line. You put it back in line. It's wearing down. This place is rubbing there. You get the thing pulled apart, go into traction. Comes back together and rubs in there. Then they operate. Then the scar tissue rubs together. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Shook a lug. And that doctor messed around there and he says, well, do you think they'll operate on, put the needle in your spine, and then you get out, then you get back in, you get out, get back in. Well, there's so much scar tissue in there we can't separate it and rub together. They don't know what they're doing. What they just did, they spent $25 billion to get the moon. And they can't fix you back. So we got this laser, it operate under the skin, we got this open heart surgery, we got all this way of handle. Big deal. How about fixing the guy's back? They can't fix the guy's back. Now, the computer and laser electronic, they got a thing worked out now in Washington, D.C., something push a button and find out what kind of lipstick your wife buys. Because the computer at the store went to the computer that told where the sales were and got the name of the charge account. When you put the MasterCard in for the brand, they know what you got there in your shelf in your bathroom. But they can't fix your back. See? There's great progress. And I said, well, why can't you make a pad that goes in there? Well, we make a pad, but then we got the nerve won't go through there. The nerve is deteriorated. Can't you make a nerve? Well, the nerve is just an electronic impulse. Well, you're big on electronics. How about an impulse, bud? I'm telling you, they can't do it. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, all this, never be, you got that book back there called A Christian Handbook of Science and Philosophy. You got that back there, don't you? That's what you want to read. That shows you what science is. It's a great big joke. It's an expensive joke. Funny, funny, funny. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, why don't you have a machine that'll open clams? Okay? You got a robot that can think. How about one that can open clams? Okay? How about a machine that can pick oranges? Wouldn't that be a simple problem? A machine that can pick oranges? People eat oranges all the time. You can't get nothing to pick oranges. People have to pick oranges. You can't open clams and oysters. You got to have a knife and open the thing with, see? What's the trouble? I'll tell you what the trouble is. They don't know what they're doing. Oh, and you take that thing right there. I don't know what causes cancer. I kid my wife about it. I tell her soap causes cancer. I tell you, take too many showers, it'll give cancer to the skin, that kind of thing. I kid a lot about it, I come home running around, I'll run a couple of miles, and come home and just jump in the pool and back of my clothes on. I've got a little old shallow bird bath pool there about 3 feet deep and about 4 by 6 feet. I'll just come and just fall on that. It's good enough for me. And once you take a shower, it'll give you cancer. And all this stuff about giving you cancer, I don't know where it comes from, so my guess is as good as anybody else. But I'll tell you what I think. Now, we've through the scripture now, but I'm thinking that when he said you live in the sweat of your face, I'm thinking he meant for you to sweat. Well, I think. And I think if you don't sweat, you die, and the less sweat you sweat, the quicker you die, and the more sweat you sweat, the longer you live. You say, why? Because that's what he told him. And it's been my observation that Americans don't like to sweat. It's also been my observation that people, when they get over 40, think it's some kind of a sin. I don't know what it is. All this right guard, left guard stuff. I mean, You folks watch that stuff on television. Let me ask you something. What if your pioneer forefathers did coming over here without that stuff? No Pepsodent to brush their teeth with, and no right guard for their armpits. Well, there must have been a stinking crew. And I tell you, I think that in one day in America, you'll breathe enough carbon monoxide to kill an elephant. And if you drink a little coffee with it, you'll compound it. And then if you breathe somebody else's cigarette smoke, which you will breathe, you'll compound it again. And then if you're dumb enough to take alcohol on top of that, you'll compound the compound. And if you live to be 50, it'll be a genuine miracle. I think cancer comes from something in the body that doesn't operate right, whatever that is. And I think it doesn't operate right because the wrong stuff is put in the body, and the only way wrong stuff can get in the body is through the mouth, or through the nose, or through the eyes, or through the ears. So we can get in. If it comes into the eye, it'll be pornography, mess up your body. If it's to the ear, it'll be rock music. If you smell, it'll be pollution, or fish factory, or paper mill, or carbon monoxide. If it's in the mouth, it'll be coal tar, or sugar, something else you eat is wrong. So if I was asked why they have it, I would say it's because the average American is poisoned. And the poison eventually produces something in the body that doesn't operate, and then you get cancer. And I don't have any foolproof cure for it. I don't think anybody has any foolproof cure for it. But my method, and maybe it won't work for everybody, and I couldn't recommend everybody, my method, each to his own, is I think the body is a liquid system. I think it's like a car that has a water and a gasoline and an oil system. And if there's a clog in the oil line, or the water line, or the gas line, something goes on with the car. As long as you keep the liquid going through that thing will function. And there isn't enough in the urinary system, the excretory system, to get it all out. You lived out there just out in the bushes with all this modernistic stuff, that'd take care of it. But it won't take care of it in Detroit. Not in Detroit, or any other place. So my cure is at least 3 times a week, you just get out and just sweat like a horse. You just sweat your guts out and get rid of it. Now, if you think that ain't the way, then I'll tell you what you do. Join a spa. And once a day, when you get off work, go to the spa and sit in the steam bath and the sauna for not the 2 minutes, 10 minutes. And then when you get out, see if you don't notice a difference in the way you feel when you get in your car and drive back to your house. There's a difference. Why do you suppose all those folks north of here have saunas? Up in Canada and Norway and Sweden. Why do you suppose the sauna came from Norway and Sweden? You know why? Because they're cold all year round. Normally you wouldn't sweat. So they work out a way to sweat. Why? To stay alive. That's what's going on. So I handle a thing like that, and I think the thing to do is get the thing out of your system. Now, one more thing and I'll close. I have been to saunas and seen a fellow come in there that had been under medication and medicine in you, so that's in goes some more poison. I mean, just you compound the compound. And come in there and sweat and take a popsicle stick and take this popsicle stick and run it up his arm like this where the sweat was, and he had a green goo on that stick. And that stuff was coming out of his pores in his arms. See? Well, maybe that isn't the cause of cancer, but don't tell me that's normal. All right, something else. Nothing like the Bible to clear up a college education.